We welcome reputed panel and judges. We thank Anil Global Foundation for this opportunity of 15 days. We were able to learn a lot during it. We are the team Illuminati, presenting you with the topic Is Depression a Disease? Moving on to the introduction side.
Depression, depression. Growing awareness about mental health, depression continues to be a misunderstood term. What do you guys think?
I know depression is something when a person feels sad or anxious. I think depression is a disorder. Let's do a thing start to Manisha.
Well, I have
Hello.
heard somewhere that depression is a syndrome, but I'm not sure. Let's ask Priyanka. Priyanka, what is your opinion?
According to my opinion, depression is a disease. It affects us, but still I am very much confused about it. We have to find a way to overcome this.
Yeah, I think the answer to this depends in part on how one understands the etiology. That is, before coming to one conclusion, we need to have an in-depth knowledge on what depression exactly means. We need to know its symptoms, causes, types, consequences, and its treatment, etc. What do you guys think?
Exactly, you are absolutely right. So what I think was we should ask Team Illuminati about it. They are discussing about this topic as their research work.
Here, we have Team Illuminati. We are mentored by Ravia Bhatia, and we have Ria Jobson as our team head, and Pooja as our creative head, Mansi as our content head, and Madhavan Sridhar as technical head. Moving on forward,
So, So, all of us face problems every day. Our stress begins from the moment we open up our eyes in this very world. Imagine all of us starting to feel emotions of sadness, fear, and anxiety, etc. Way too much, right? Intensely. So, what do you call it? Is it depression? Have you ever thought how hard is it to tackle? How difficult to feel with those feelings? What do you think
but
about this?
what theoretically and scientifically proven definition for depression? Can anyone share?
Yes, I will tell you what exactly depression is. Depression is a mental health problem which is associated with the elevation or lowering of a person's mood. It may be described as feelings of sadness, loss, or anger that interferes with a person's everyday activities. And friends, do you know the etymology of depression? Well,
No.
depression is derived from a Latin word deprimere, which means to press down.
Oh, that is amazing. So, what I was wondering after knowing what depression is, can anyone tell me does depression has any types?
Yes, I will help you out with this. There are a lot of types of depression. Clinically approved are 9 ones, out of which 2 are most important and very common. One is major depressive disorder, and the other one is persistent depressive disorder. I hope you did understand it.
Okay, Ria, you have given us a great knowledge on types of depression. But can you tell us what are the causes of depression?
Sure. I think it is very necessary for us to know what will lead to depression. There are various causes which lead to depression. Most important causes trauma, abuse, conflict, personal problems. And yes, certain medication, genetics, and serious illness will also result in causing depression. Madhavan, I was just thinking, what will be the identifying factors and symptoms of depression?
I'll make you clear. Now, we are going to see on topics like key identifiers of depression and some symptoms of depression. So, when we go ahead, as key identifiers of depression, we have three major keys to identify a person is depressed. Key 1, sadness. Key 2, acadonia. And key 3, physical and mental loss, that is fatigue. And when we move on to our next slide, we have some symptoms of depression. So symptoms may vary widely between people. There are many other symptoms of depression, and you are unlikely to have all those listed on a slide. But main key thing is being unhappy isn't the same as being depressed, and the symptoms may persist for weeks, months, or even for years. And when we see three main categories of depression symptoms, we have psychological symptoms, social symptoms, and physical symptoms. Let's see brief on them. Psychological symptoms. Some of the psychological symptoms are sadness, feeling hopeless, feeling guilt-ridden, feeling irritable, having no motivation, difficult to make decisions, feeling anxious, and suicidal thoughts. And moving on to the social symptoms, avoiding contact with friends and taking part in fewer social activities, neglecting hobbies, having difficulty in your home or family life. And last category of symptoms we have are physical symptoms. Moving or speaking more slowly, changes in appetite, constipation, unexplained ache, lack of energy, changes to your menstrual cycle, and disturbed sleep. So I hope you understand, Mansi.
Now I know the symptoms and identifiers of depression. But can anyone tell me what are the consequences of this mental illness?
Like every mental illness, depression has its own consequences. If left untreated, depression can have serious and sometimes long term consequences that can affect every aspect of our life. So, some of them are changes of increase in risky behavior such as aggressiveness or drug addiction. It affects relationship as a person starts to lose trust among loved ones. It changes sleep patterns and appetite. A person can sleep more or sleep less. A person can have good appetite or can have poor appetite. It affects health issues due to change in their respective schedules in sleep patterns and appetite. A person can lack confidence. A person can lack confidence. A person can lack concentration. He or she lacks motivation. Hence, there will be less productivity in their life, which makes them hopeless. Last but not the least, there is the major consequence of depression, that is suicide, the rational thinking of a person of killing themselves.
Wow. But what could be its diagnosis and treatment? Can anyone explain it?
Okay, let's move on. I will help you with that. Let's move on to the diagnosis and identification. Now, I think this is something which spotlight is needed. As human beings, we have great heart and mind. Therefore, it is indeed necessary for us to identify the people around us. Now, how can we identify them? There are three possible ways. One, mentally. Loss of interest, hard to make decision, poor concentration. Second, emotionally. Now the person will be sad, empty, feeling of lonely, guiltiness, helplessness, worthlessness. And the third one, physically. Fatigue, less energy, changes in appetite, pain, digestive disorder. So much a person can undergo during this process.
Oh, I'm gaining a lot of knowledge. But now let us talk about the treatments. So, Pooja, can you tell us what antidepressants are?
Yes, Mansi. There are a lot of treatments for depression. One of them are antidepressants. Antidepressants are those medications that can help relieve symptoms of depression, social anxiety, dysphoria. It has many benefits over a depressed person, but along with it, it has many physical side effects as well, such as weight gain, vomiting, and etc. Do you know, Mansi? Antidepressants were first developed in the 1950s, and their use has become progressively more common in the last 20 years.
Oh, wow.
Now, after this thing, there are some types of antidepressants as well. So let me buckle it up. First is SNRIs, which are called as serotonin and noradrenaline reuptake inhibitors, which are used to treat major depression and anxiety disorders, attention deficit hyperactivity disorder, obsessive compulsive disorder, and chronic neuropathic pain by raising the levels of neurotransmitters in the brain. Now, next comes the SSRIs, which are known as selective serotonin reuptake inhibitors, which are most prescribed antidepressants as they have the fewer number of physical side effects on person's body than other antidepressants. Now, the third one comes NASSAs, which are noradrenaline and specific stratogeneric antidepressants, which are lessly used antidepressants, which are used to treat anxiety disorders and depression. They are preferably less used because they lead to the reduction of white blood cells in one's blood. Now, there comes the third in the row. There comes the fourth in the row, which is TCA. That is tricyclic antidepressant, which is named after its chemical combination of medications. They are used to treat depression and anxiety and control chronic pain. Now, there comes the fifth one, the last antidepressant, which is monoamine oxidase inhibitor. This type of antidepressant was commonly prescribed before the introduction of SSRI and SNRI. This type of antidepressant only used when the other antidepressants were not affected by a person's body, were not accepted by a person's body.
Since we
That's
learned a
great.
lot about antidepressants, can we know about the psychotherapy also?
Of course, Ria. Ria, do you know psychotherapy is also known as the talk therapy? And Madhavan, it is that way which people help to help people with a broad variety of mental illness and emotional difficulties. It is the majorly used treatment for depression and other anxiety problems. Confidentiality is the basic requirement as per patients share their personal feelings and thoughts with the therapist. Psychotherapy has been shown to improve emotions and behaviors and to be linked with positive changes in our brain and body. Now, as shown on the slide, there shows the 5 types of psychotherapy present out there. So they are named as number one, cognitive behavioral therapy, number second, interpersonal therapy, number third, dialective behavioral therapy, number fourth, psychodynamic therapy, and number fifth, supportive therapy. So, coming to the first, cognitive behavioral therapy, it helps the people to identify change in thinking and behavioral patterns from harmful to accurate thoughts. Second comes the interpersonal therapy, which help people to learn healthy ways of communicating and improve in communication to express their emotions well. Next comes the third one. It is dialectical behavioral therapy, which helps a person to remove who have chronic suicidal thoughts. Now comes the psychodynamic therapy, which is based on the idea that a person's mental health is based on their childhood. It is the only therapy which is involved both group sections and individual sessions. Last but not the least, there comes the supportive therapy. As the name suggests, it supports a person mentally and emotionally by building their self-esteem, reducing anxiety, and building their confidence again. So this is all about what psychotherapy says.
Okay. Now, since we know about the talk therapy, can we know also about the electroconvulsive therapy?
Yes, my dear friend, I will help you out with that. With the advancement of science and technology, we took a step ahead in the direction of treatment of mental illness. The invention of electroconvulsive therapy was a milestone. And Pooja, do you know what happens during the therapy?
No, tell
I'll
me.
tell you. During this therapy, a flow of small amount of electric current is sent to the brain, which induces seizure. Now, Ria, do you know why it is used? Well, I'll help you out with that. ECT is used when other forms of therapy and medication doesn't work. It is highly recommended as a treatment of last resort for disorders like bipolar disorder, major depressive disorder, and schizophrenia. Now, Madhvan, I will tell you why is it responsible for the therapeutic effect. What
Yes,
exactly happens is that electroconvulsive therapy increases the release of monoamine neurotransmitters, particularly dopamine, serotonin, and norepinephrine. Some other hormones are produced as well that together helps in therapeutic effect. While ECT is safe, but do you guys know it do have some side effects? These side effects are memory loss, confusion, and physical injuries.
yeah. But you've discussed all the therapies, but these are artificial and they have so many risks and side effects. Is there any natural therapies to treat depressive patients?
Yes, Madhavan, you are right. These treatments do have a lot of side effects, and there are some natural treatments as well. The first one is yoga. Yoga is something that was originated and developed in our own country. Yoga is a group of physical, mental, and spiritual practice. It is derived from a Sanskrit word yuj, which means to connect, join, or balance. Now, Ria, do you know how yoga helps in depression?
No.
I'll tell you. It is a non-pharmacological remedy that helps in reducing stress, improves mood, energy, relieves sleep troubles. According to the Journal of Psychiatry and Neuroscience, yoga is a natural way to increase the production of serotonin level, where serotonin plays a major role in happiness.
Mansi, would you help me out with what all postures will help here?
Yes, I will. Now, here on the screen, I have shown you some of the yoga poses. These are Shishu Asan, Hal Asan, Savasan, Adho Mukh Swanasana, and Setu Bandhasan. These all helps in reducing stress, calming the mind, building self-confidence, and refreshes the body. There are also some breathing exercises such as Bhramari Pranayam and Nadi Shodhan Pranayam, which helps in calming the agitated mind and attaining a state of consciousness. And friends, you know, meditation is another natural treatment. It is a technique of resting the mind and attaining a state of consciousness, which is totally different from our outer world. It helps in bringing a person into the present moment, clearing their mind and strengthening the body-mind connection.
Oh, that was great, Mansi. I am pleased to have such knowledge of that. Now, I would like to ask, our current scenario is going on too far, which is being very difficult for us. So, what according to you, the current scenario is affecting us?
Yeah,
And is
I'll
it the
brief you.
major cause for depression nowadays?
Absolutely. So as the corona rapidly sweeps across world, it is inducing public mental health issues and debating rates of depression. It's elevating the rates of depression. Here are some of the factors affecting fear. Most of most of them related to fear of job loss or financial issues, illness, acrophobia, isolation, mental crisis, bipolar, pitfall. These are the main factors that affecting people in COVID-19 period due to depression. And also, even for COVID patients, the need say doctors is perhaps to equip COVID at least one trained mental professional to avoid relapses for the patient. You see how much important it is.
As we are going through this difficult phase, can anyone tell us the destruction or havoc of lockdown?
Yeah, lockdown ever. So a recent study, it was just published 3 days before and conducted by COVID Suicide Prevention India Foundation, says a study COVID-19 blues, and they have stated a statistical data of common problems faced by people in percentage. In that, 76% have problem with their job loss, 74% have stress, 88% people have fear, anxiety, and 73% have problem with isolation and loneliness. So depression is a major risk factor for suicide. Not every depressed individual is suicidal, but yes, some may have death wishes arising from pervasive hopelessness and worthlessness.
Wow. I think we got to know a lot from here. Wait, I think our government also would have started something, right? Could anyone tell me about the government initiatives?
Yes, I will tell you. From the official website of Directorate General of Health Services, I found out that the Government of India launched the National Mental Health Program in 1982, whose main objective was the availability and accessibility of minimum mental health care. The Government of India launched the District Mental Health Program in 1996. And guys, do you know what the program included?
What
No.
was it?
It included counseling services for school and colleges, workplace stress management, suicide prevention services. And guys, it also provides 5 lakh rupees to each NGO linked with the state government and a financial support of 83.2 lakh to each district. It also has Central Mental Health Authority and State Mental Health Authority that helps in coordination between state and government. And Madhvan, do you know Mental Health Care Act was passed in 2017, which helps in the previous programs more enhancement.
Oh, that's
Don't know,
great.
Mansi.
I didn't knew about these government initiatives that much. Thank you, Mansi.
Yeah.
Now, what I was wondering is, government has planned so much for depressed patients. Now, there are many non-governmental organizations out there for many causes. Is there or does there any organization for depression patients?
I'll help you with that. Organizations work throughout the world, morning to night, 24 by 7, in order to help people suffering from depression. We have listed here some of the online and offline organizations. Serenity, Hope Network, eWellness Expert, Live, Love, Love Foundation, and our own government online helpline work 24 by 7, both online and offline platform in order to help people. We also have the WHO working throughout the world in order to help people out here. Moving on to the offline organizations.
Yeah. Many non-governmental organizations, that is NGOs, are working 24 by 7 to help people who are affected by depression. And some of the NGOs are listed here. They are Sangat, the Banyan, Straff, Manas Foundation, Minds Foundation, and Astra. Have you got the idea?
Yes. Since we knew about the WHO platform online, I think WHO must be working on depression. Can anybody talk about that?
Yes, Ria, you are right. Depression is one of the WHO has thought. WHO has made a mental health gap action program for depression patients. Under that program, WHO aims to help countries to increase their services by making several strategies and policies collaborating with several NGOs across the country. Under this program, WHO has also developed brief psychological intervention manuals for depression so that the people who are unaware or less aware about this can get to know better. Now, the next comes this WHO says the best therapy of depression is to thought, and according to that, they focus upon the age group while forming all the policies. Last but not the least, according to the survey conducted by WHO, more women are affected by depression than men.
Whoa. Can depression actually kill a person? Can anyone share the statistical data of death happened due to depression?
Yes, Madhvan, I will help you out with that. According to the article of the Asian Post, India has the highest risk of suicide in Southeast Asia, and a minimum of 1 lakh people die in India on an average every year. And according to WHO, minimum of 8 lakh people die on an average every year. And friends, do you know, each person is said to die every 40 seconds.
That's sad.
Oh my God, that data is so amazing. I
It's
mean,
heart-aching.
amusing. Seriously. So let's move forward. So depression, depression is treatment of depressions are helping people to overcome that. But there are also other ways to help those people. So in this slide, these are some images that portray how to help people who are going through this difficult phase.
Now I know a lot of things about depression, but Madhvan, can you tell us what not to say to a person who is going through depression?
Yeah, there are some sentences that should not be delivered to the people who are in case depression. You are strong. You will get over it. So this may stay guarded about expressing themselves, and also they'd be thinking that we are calling them as weak. And the second sentence, go out for a walk to shake it off. So they may be incapable of getting themselves to do that. Third sentence, don't think like this. Don't be negative. This will further push them to the hopelessness. And we have a last sentence, sleep over it. Eat something to cheer up. Watch something positive. So the loss of interest to do anything good will further add it to their guilt. These are the sentences that should not be delivered to the people in case of depression. Are you clear?
Yes, Madam.
Yes.
Yes.
Yes, Madhvan,
Yeah.
very much clear.
Yeah, moving on to our next slide, we have an interesting part in our PPT. We have real life examples of depression survivors. Here, we bring you and 3 life stories of people who battled depression in their life. We are unwrapping our untold story 1, 2, and 3. Here, we have our first story of Ria Jobson have asked a person, what is a reason for depression? Let's view our replay.
Whole reason for my depression was because of one toxic relationship which totally shook me. It was not able to let me sleep properly or even think straight. I had no support from my parents nor my friends. The relationship made me feel what depression is like. On top of this, my family suffered from a huge money loss, a loss of almost 4 lakhs from the bank due to mutual funds. And also, God put us in a position where we had to face a situation where my dad got a heart attack and he was admitted in the hospital. All this together made us feel what real depression was like, and it was not easy to handle. Depression is not simple at all. I know what it feels like.
Yeah, and we even asked the second question, that is our view on depression. Let's see our replay.
Yes, depression is a disease, and all of us should take it very seriously and help everyone who's suffering from it.
And we have our life story 2. This is a intern Pooja have asked the friend about her depressive story. And we asked her, how you overcame depression? And she answered like,
I overcame depression after I got into another school. I met the most wonderful people there. They were very encouraging and very supporting. I had great friends. I had great teachers. A complete contrast to the situation I was in before. In addition to this, I was also taking medicine, which helped me see things clearly, and I was able to concentrate on my studies again. It was a combination of both of these things which helped me beat depression and function like a normal person again.
and we even asked her the diplomatic question, what your views on depression? And she replied like,
As a person with depression, to me, depression is a mental disorder. Because of it, my mind cannot function properly, and because of that, I cannot function properly. In severe cases, it cripples me. It affects my moods, it affects my attention span, it affects how I perceive things. I get all of these symptoms because my brain is not functioning in an orderly fashion, and because of this, I think depression is a mental disorder and not a disease.
yeah, we have our final real life example. Actually, I interviewed my friend about her reason for depression, and she answered like,
I have been suffering from depression for under 2 months, and it has its own way of replacing my confidence with anxiety and self-hatred. I never heard the word anxiety in my life ever. The scariest things I found about suffering from the mental illness or depression, and it affects its own aspects in my life. For me, suffering from depression became debilitating as I couldn't find happiness in doing a little things which I loved to do. More often, the depression would cause me to sit in my room and cry, usually for no reason at all. I never thought it would hit me like this.
yeah. Now, let's be here, her viewpoint on depression.
Yes, as a medical student, I will just say depression is an unpredictable, unexplainable, or undescribable term. It is not a disease or disorder. It is a state which affects our feelings and thinking. At last, we would be at the situation of sadness and loneliness. In fact, depression is a chronic illness.
Yeah.
Madhvan, your voice is not audible.
Ria,
Huh.
hello. Ria, what about a survey?
Yes. Since we know about what depression is, what is the population thinking about depression, let's get into the main point, the survey and analysis. Our survey was circulated in order to obtain suitable results for our research. We relied on the online method. We had taken PHQ-9, which is Patient Health Questionnaire 9, as it is clinically accepted. It is a self-monitored assessment. The questionnaire is reliable and valid. We conducted non-randomized snowball sampling method. 9 questions were asked. Around 227 responses were obtained. We had a survey open from 13 years of age. We had seen our survey and we found out that most of the people who attended our survey was between the age of 17 to 25. That means students attended the most. Next, we have the graph showing the survey responses regarding the age and the gender. If you would able to see, you would see the gender, which shows that 62.1% was attended by females, and yes, 81.5% shows our age group, which is 17 to 25. Now let's look at the response options which we had given them according to the PHQ-9. We had 4 options given to them. 1, not at all, more than 1/2 of the days, several days, every day. When we had to interpret the scores, the scoring method went from 0 to 3. Not at all 0, every day 3, with the minimum score 0 and the maximum score 3. Now let's get into the main part, which is the graphical representation. We had asked 9 questions and we have put forth you the responses accordingly. Interest in doing things, having sleep problems, suicidal thoughts. Let's start with interest in doing things. Apart from the 20.3%, all else have less interest in performing. This is one of the diagnostic method. Having sleep problems. Apart from the 37.9%, remaining do suffer from sleep problems, suicidal thoughts. It's happy to see we have a great amount of blue, but imagine it's just 68.7%. The more than 30% of people out of this 227 do have recurrent thoughts of giving up life. That is suicide. Let's see their other responses. Now, moving on to our other responses. Rate of change in physical activity. As you've noticed, 59% just said they are perfectly fine. What about the remaining? Feeling of depressed and hopeless. This is something which we should take place. Apart from the 34.4%, all else said that they are hopeless and they are feeling worthless. Feeling of being a failure. Just 42.3% said they're satisfied with life. What happened to the remaining 60? Let's move on to the concentration issues, changes in appetite, and further related problems. Appetite level. 52.4% are okay with they having appetite, whereas the remaining do have appetite problems. Concentration issues, it was 50-50%. Yes, no. Energy related problem. Apart from the 31.7%, all else do have the energy related problem. Moving on to the conclusion of our survey. When you notice the pie charts, you would have seen that these were questions which related to the diagnosis and identification. And taking the average of 227 response, we, after interpreting the scores, came to a number of 8.3. Using the scoring method, we interpreted that the population on which we conducted the survey do suffer from mild to moderate depression. I think this is something to notice. Let's move on to the conclusion.
So, moving to the conclusion part of our presentation, we thought of all four of us will give our own interpretation, what we thought about it. So, after researching about depression thoroughly, I concluded that we cannot identify depression under one scale, being it is a disorder, a disease, or a syndrome. It is a disorder because it affects a person mentally and emotionally. And yes, it is a disease because it and its medications affect a person physically. So for me, it is both a disorder and a disease. So what do you think, Madhvan?
After 15 days research, I think yes, Depression is a disease because just like disease that affects a person biologically, physically, mentally, and emotionally, depression does the same. So it is a disease. What are your thoughts, Madhvan?
Ria, you conclude.
Yes, I was about to conclude. Let's see what is this. Me concluding, or as a team Illuminati, when we conclude, we found out that our survey shows more than 30% of people do have recurrent thoughts on suicide. That means on 227 people or people who attended our responses, 30% above do have recurrent thoughts of giving up in life. Do you get the term? Just on the
Yeah,
population of
what I think,
227, if 30% think,
yeah, shall I share my point?
just imagine.
Hello, shall I share my point?
Yes, go ahead, Madhavan.
Yeah. So after covering all the corners of depression, what I think is it may be theoretically stated as mental illness or disorder, but after knowing its adverse effect on human being, I think it's definitely a disease. But we can't say it as a disease because a disease have characteristic symptoms and also it affects one part of the one organ of our body. But we can state it as systemic disease because systemic disease in the sense it affects the all the other organs of the body. So I think depression is a disease and depression is a systemic disease.
So yeah, as we are concluding, I'm bringing up the note again. Disease is something which is persistent and it takes a long time to cure. And so from our survey, from our research, we were able to conclude that depression is a disease.
Yeah.
We are
all
concluding with
stories
quotes.
all stories have happy endings. If you are not happy, then it is not the end.
Remember, before it rains, the cloud has to be dark and cloudy. I would like to extend my gratitude to the panel, the judges, Anand Global Foundation, our team members, our mentor, and our colleagues for having the support without which this wonderful opportunity would have been impossible for us. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, team Illuminati, for a wonderful presentation and a great team effort. Now, before requesting Rabia ma'am to share her experience, I would like to introduce her first. Rabia ma'am, she is a facilitator, mentor, educationist, and a learner, a spoken English trainer certified with British Council, currently associated with the education sector in PR, social media, and recruitment. She conducts workshops on various topics such as treasuring each child, promoting kindness in the classroom, creating happiness everywhere, goal of education, creating harmonious relationships, and the most important topic is create good causes to earn good for teachers, students, and parents. Now, I would request Rabia ma'am to share her experience for this session and her experience regarding these 15 days internship program.
Yeah, hi all. Thank you so much. First of all, I would really like to thank Anon and Miss Arti and Miss Deepa for giving me this wonderful opportunity of mentorship with these college students. And my experience for past 15 days, it's like amazing. It was like wonderful working with these kids. You know, I feel when you have to connect or when you have to work with the students, you have to connect with your heart actually. So till the time there is no bonding or heart-to-heart bonding, you cannot work or you cannot make them understand or you cannot build a trust in them. So the most important factor which I could relate to is that the day we started working, me and the students, we could relate to each other, we could connect to each other because of the heart and heart-to-heart connect. So it was a wonderful feeling, and these students were ready to approach to me at any point of time. I did not give them a that kind of moment where I was not approachable at all. At the same point of time, for a very small thing, they were coming up to me, which I was like very. It was very appreciated that yes, they can they are ready to ask me anything at any point of time. They were not reluctant at all. They were not feeling shy to ask even a small question, or whether it was a big query or a big issue regarding regarding our presentation or something. But the only thing which was like missing is, like, I think that these 15 days have gone very quickly, very fast. I feel that I would love to work with them for more than 15 days. They're so wonderful and they're so brilliant. I mean, I do not have to do much to help them with respect to any research or a presentation, but it was only a pure heart-to-heart bonding that we could come to this last 15th day to give our presentation. And yes, they have done a wonderful job. For me, yes, they have done an excellent job. It was a beautiful presentation with deep research, deep knowledge, deep thoughts shared. Everything was very efficiently done. So it was a wonderful, feeling to work with them. And for sure, I would miss them actually. I would really miss them.
Thank you, ma'am, for your views. Now, I would like to request the jury members to share their views regarding the presentation and if they want to ask anything to our interns.
I would say it was an excellent presentation with equal participation from all the participants, which was actually wonderful. And I would say that technical work was very well done. Even the survey that was presented was done in a very, very professional manner. So congratulations to the mentor and all the 4 participants.
Thank you.
And when it comes to the overall presentation that was done, I think it was very, very professionally done. So once again, congratulations. My question would be,
thank you.
Why do you think people have this hesitation of informing others when they are in a problem like depression? What stops them?
Ma'am, actually,
can I?
Okay. So what I want to share with this is, we live in the society where people are not comfortable with sharing their thoughts with one another. In our society, if a person shares their mental illness or mental problem with others, they are going to think that this person is mental, or he's, in Hindi we call it pagal. So people, and a person in India is very, very, very recurrent about their reputations. So they feel shy about sharing that thing. And that is the main reason why many of the people in India and outside also across India, that who left untreated with this problem and dying.
So is there a way by which this taboo, that feeling of taboo, is will go out of our society?
Ma'am, can I include?
Yeah, yes, Riya.
Okay. When we did research, it was very visible for us who never replied to our queries and who did. Actually, depression is something which we can actually talk about, but is what I thought. But when I passed responses to this, people just continued to share and they were reluctant to answer to this question. And I knew why. It was because people were scared whether I would judge them, or people who get the responses would judge them. Their family problems regarding it. So I feel how can you change is the only method, as I mentioned in our PPT, is talk therapy. Talk out to people. We have to remove the stigma that depression is something which is killing, or it's not supposed to be, should be shared. It's something which should be shared, and therefore start talking about it, bringing the views about it. I think, thank you. I again extend my thanks for Anand Global Foundation to have this topic on board, so that people would get knowledge about what depression actually is. How is it killing from inside? And the reason why we could not play it is because of the less of talking about it, ma'am.
Thank you.
Okay, maybe I can go next. So guys, very, very impressive what I saw today. And what was very unique about your presentation, unlike the other ones, which by the way were also very good, was the very unique style of presentation. I'm a big soccer fan. I don't know how many of you are familiar with the term tiki-taka, the Spanish tiki-taka technique of playing soccer, where you make very quick passes between 4 or 5 players and really confuse the opposition and score the goal. Okay, they were basically the conquerors of the world in a lot of global tournaments because of that. And I saw in your method the tiki-taka style, where each one of you was covering a point precisely, quickly, and then passing on. Okay, and you kept hitting the goal one after the other. I thought you took a big risk in doing that, because with 4 of you on slightly unstable connections, any connection going bad, the lack of coordination would have spoiled the whole presentation. We saw some examples of that towards the end, where 1 or 2 of you unfortunately had a bad connection and there was a little bit of synchronization problem towards the end, but I won't hold that against you at all. I think you guys did a phenomenal presentation. I don't know whether this just happened spontaneously, or did you guys very specifically plan for this style? Whose idea was this, by the way?
The mentor told they need an interactive way, so we planned this.
Excellent.
Thanks to our mentor for this, giving us this excellent idea.
Yeah, great job, guys. Very, very well done. And I think what I also thought was the teamwork was outstanding. Not just in the unique way you presented. I can imagine what kind of rehearsal or practice would have gone into making this successful, because, you know, I didn't see too many pauses or confusion. Without a rehearsal, moving on control between each other would have been very hard. So I think you guys would have worked hard to do that synchronization, writing a script, making sure everyone knew where to stop and where. I can imagine the kind of work you've done. So great. Couple of other observations. One area where I thought you could have done a little more, I think you touched upon it, which is this whole confusion that a lot of people have about the casual use of the word depression versus the real clinical depression. Okay. From time to time, almost every human being, right, faces circumstances where they feel a little down, where they feel a little casual depressed. Okay. That's not clinical depression. People can feel sad, they can lose appetite, they may feel it's end of the world. And a lot of times, just because you're going through a bad experience, it's natural to feel down, doesn't mean you are clinically depressed. And that distinction is very important to understand, because a lot of times people tend to underestimate the problem of depression by thinking that the person is weak, he's not handling a situation. In fact, I thought that the idea of having some of those telephonic interviews, having some of the people share their experiences was great. But even in there, I saw a little bit of stereotyping. Even in your survey results, I thought you kind of trivialized the thing a little bit by saying, look, so many percentage of the people had lack of appetite, they felt sad, and therefore you think so many % of the people are depressed. I don't think you should jump to that conclusion, because clinical depression needs a lot more careful diagnosis. Answering a few questions in a survey, you can't conclude whether the person is depressed. And the reason I'm saying that is not to critique you. The reason I'm saying that is to make sure you understand that don't classify someone as depressed based on a few symptoms. It's a lot more work than doing that. And I think your research was great. Your teamwork was great. Just take care of some of these finer points, and lovely presentation. My compliments to you and to your mentor once again.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir.
Okay, Harmeena ma'am, if you would like to ask anything to our interns. Ma'am, please unmute.
Congratulations for all the work that's been put in. It was very, very obvious, came across, but what already got addressed actually in the end is what I was just also going to say, is that if we, in the society, in the thing, if there should be a little more awareness, so that everybody watches out amongst your friends, amongst the thing to say, and nobody's shy of coming across and telling you that they have a problem or they need help. Because they don't seek help, we take it too lightly to say, and they're scared of a stigma attached to it. So even we can watch out for that. That little bit also, I think, needs to be discussed and spoken about, but it was very well done.
Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am.
Would now request you to share your views on this session.
Yeah. Wonderful, amazing, Rabia. Very well guided. These children have followed whatever you are, I think so, doing in most of in your experience and all that. Very well done. All the participants won again. It gave a real insight into the subject. It was very nice coordination between all the team members and very well presented. It's scary to note that 32% surveyed personnel have been thinking of suicide, wherein the major sample was in the age group of 17 to 26 years. The scale of the problem seems to be much bigger than what it appears, because the circumstances are like that. And then that's all. I feel new insight for us, whatever you have gone through. Yeah. Puneet, you want to say anything?
Yeah, I think most of the points have already been covered. As Mr. Raman said, I also noticed, I mean, after attending so many presentations, this was a really brilliant and a unique idea of switching. The only word which comes to me is that excellent team coordination. When I was watching the survey section, it was absolutely a visual treat, a very unique, a different way of presenting that survey. Amazing attention to detail. I had one question. On one of the slide you mentioned 8 lakh as the number of people. I really wanted to know, I mean, the source of that study, because 8 lakh appeared to be a higher side. And also a related question. Considering that now there is so much online awareness, so much, I mean, parents are spending lots of time. In earlier times, we used to have 4 or 5 children. Now we have 1 or 2 children. What do you think we as a society, either parents, teachers, or friends, have failed that the number of suicides are not coming down? Why for people of maybe in your 17 to or 18 to 25, why do you think suicide is such an easy option? Because taking one's life. So why do you think we as a society have not done anything, and where we have as a failed that the number of suicides are not coming down?
Sir,
So one point to add is.
8 lakh.
Okay, you talk, Riya. Okay.
Continue, Madhavan.
No, the one point to add is due to development of technology, sir. Even though parents are spending so much time in house, they are not connecting. They are not like connecting every time. Most of the time we are sticking into a phone, and due to cyberbullying and even many reasons, these are the factors that are affecting. You add your point, please.
Sir, the 8 lakh was WHO results which showed us. And yeah, sir, as you mentioned, now we have online platforms. We have too much of talking about depression. Whatever me the thing, what I felt was I was a person who underwent depression at a time. And when I understood was meeting failure, this is very competitive world, and it's very much competitive. And parents right from the birth teach children to be how to be competitive, to be like survival of the fittest. So it's like children from birth, they're like, okay, I never go. It's like you can't even do that. How can I meet a failure? How can me? The tagline of I, it's something which is very much effective. So I think we have to start by changing and talking to our children. It's okay to fail. It's okay to give up. As we mentioned in our the slide would show that how to talk to people undergoing depression. It's okay to give up. It's nothing wrong in failing. It's okay to rest for a while and then what's next.
Okay. Thank you. Thank you. Okay.
Deepa, you have to say?
Yeah. I just want to say congratulations to Rabia and team. Great work done. Really a great work done, Rabia. And at this age, I am so happy to hear that these students have come to know that failures are a stepping stone to success, and it's okay to fail. So this is a very, very great thing that they have been aware at such an early stage. So I think they will reach the pinnacle of success now, because when it's okay to fail, then failures only teach us so many things.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Thank you. Congratulations to all of you. Very well done. Proud of you.
So much.
Thank you.
Thank
ma'am.
you, ma'am. So much.
Thank you.
Thank you all. Thank you so
Thank
much.
you.
Thank you.